Let's go ahead and look at how vibrato applies to this piece. When we play the first little phrase, we're going to naturally have a little bit of vibrato if we just allow our hand to follow the forces that are at work in the first three notes. So here, I have a little bit of a lean that takes me into G. And I have time. If I was doing something very quick, then that would be one oscillation. It's just leaning left to right. But at this pace, I can right, left, right. And I wouldn't try to pick apart every single oscillation in your playing. We're not doing that. We're just looking at what is a rate of change that fits with the flow of the music that we're playing. Here I'm going to allow a little bit of flow into my hand, and it should come naturally. If it doesn't, then you need to really practice, individual fingers, get them comfortable with the movement, and then try finger relationships, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, and teach them to be comfortable with this lean from one finger into the other. It's not just finger movement, but it's learning how to use a larger movement in order to flow into your destination. We don't want, very flat. We want these graceful little touches of vibrato that add enough pitch modulation that it makes the music sound organic. Think of water flowing down, maybe in a stream down a mountain. It has organic curves that naturally follow the landscape. Our hand does the same thing as we're playing music. So here I might have a left, right, left, right. Now, that was exaggerated. It's going to be not very visible, and it's also not going to be felt very strongly. It's something you'd actually have to listen for to notice it, but it's going to sound nicer than if we just play it fingers only. Looking at G to A, we're going to bring back the concept of the slingshot that I brought up in the last lesson. So remember, a slingshot, I grab on to the part that I pull back, draw it back, and now I've got this potential energy. Now when I release it, it wants to release that energy and it drives it in the opposite direction. Well, if I'm on G and I lean toward the headstock, I'm going away from my destination because I'm building pressure, and then that pressure wants to flow toward A. So instead of try with no vibrato, no lean whatsoever, shifting up to A, it almost feels like you're yanking your hand forward. And you notice it has a ba, da. It has an aggressive sound, an unpleasantly forceful arrival. Now, if we lean away, it's a less aggressive arrival. We've put more of the energy, really the charge here, and then it's releasing that charge here. And it compensates. It makes it average out in a sense, because we still have a more energetic thing happening as we arrive to fret 5. But because we put more energy into fret 3, it kind of tricks the ear into thinking it's just a more smooth arrival than it actually is. So go ahead and give this a try. We lean left, jump right. And it should be subtle. If it was a much larger leap, it's less subtle, but it's not so big of a turn that we get a really obvious, pitch modulation that sounds unpleasantly strange. So applying this in the big picture, this is what it would look like. You can see it's hardly visible, but you can, if you listen for it, there's a little bit of a scoop that takes us into the next note. From here, there's going to be a natural lean from the index finger, just moving forward into our destination. We're really setting our position on the ring finger and determining where do I put my hand. Well, I want this note to sound nice and strong. So this is sort of the point that we want to be I might use the term center of gravity for my hand. My pointer finger is not the important note in this phrase. Here's not important, it's this. So when we position here, we want that ring finger to really be what's important, and this pointer finger is sort of falling into our final position. If we really position the most important note to be the most secure note, it's going to sound more important. But if we make an ancillary note the foundation of our position, then it's going to sound more important, and it's going to undermine that arrival. I'm getting a little off topic here. But this is an example of how vibrato applies to a simple passage of music. This is an in-depth analysis, but it really should be something that we sort of shut off our brain and just let it flow. When you arrive at the end of this phrase, also consider the fact that you have a lot of movement, and when you arrive, it's only natural to have a little bit of vibrato. We have all this energy, and it's almost like it's letting that energy release, right? It's not this forceful, I'm keeping this thing going, keeping it going. It's just it starts fast because there's a lot of energy, and it might slow down because it's letting off that steam. So give that a try. Learn to flow with it. Vibrato is all about flow, but that's absolutely necessary if you're going to tackle advanced repertoire, which requires you to be able to get that assistance from vibrato. Remember that vibrato always is helpful. It always facilitates movement rather than being an obstacle to it. I would also recommend, Jorge Caballero has a great video on vibrato. I'll provide a link in the description, but I would check that out as well. This is where I learned about vibrato was from Jorge, the more advanced approach to vibrato, I should say. I was trained on it in music school, and it was very cursory and not well thought out or a well-developed approach to vibrato. This is far more in-depth. And so I do want to attribute what I've learned to what he's taught me. Anything good I have to share is from Jorge, and anything that is incorrect, I would say, attribute to me, because I'm still a student just like the rest of us. But that being said, check out Jorge's video, and then check out the next video in my series. I'll see you there.